Vera Herrick, a mission director, is ensnared in a loveless marriage with Colonel Silas Herrick, a celebrated military hero. Upon his return from battle, she discovers that her once emotionally abusive husband has undergone a remarkable transformation, presenting himself as a completely changed man in more aspects than one. The story begins on a planet named Terra in the year 2520. The land is dry and rough. We hear a man speaking, and we see the camera zoom into a dome-shaped building. Inside, a military leader named Silas Herrick is being praised for his team's brave work. Two of his men died while trying to find a special element called hydrogen on a planet named Rexor. The Terrans need hydrogen to clean the air on their planet. After Colonel Silas Herrick delivers his speech and accepts the awards, everyone present applauds his accomplishments. Stepping down from the stage, he is greeted by General Olin and his wife, Vera Herrick. General Olin praises Silas, stating that Vera must be proud of him. Vera agrees, commending Silas as a remarkable and steadfast leader. General Olin acknowledges Vera's integral role in the mission, quoting the saying, "Behind every successful man is a great woman." He highlights Vera's quick thinking and contributions, which helped avoid many casualties. Grateful for the recognition, Vera thanks Olin as he departs with another lady, leaving Silas and Vera alone together. Later, as Silas and Vera return home, Silas begins to vent his frustrations about General Olin, accusing him of being jealous and ruining his special night of recognition. Vera tries to diffuse the tension by suggesting that Olin was simply being kind to her. Exhausted, she announces her intention to go to bed. However, as she moves to leave, Silas stops her, gripping her hand tightly and pushing her against the wall. His abusive nature becomes apparent as he aggressively reminds her of her absence from the battlefield compared to his own experiences. He taunts her, asking if she hears the haunting sounds of battle and if she witnessed the deaths of their comrades firsthand. Vera responds negatively to each question, prompting Silas to assert that he would have remembered if she had been there. Despite her discomfort, Silas kisses her, but Vera's unease is visible. Silas retreats to another room while Vera makes her way to the bedroom. There, she dons a breathing mask and lies down, her breaths heavy with the weight of the night's turmoil. The following morning, Vera is already in the kitchen when Silas joins her. Surprised by his early rising, Vera receives a message on her device. Silas inquires about it, prompting Vera to reveal that General Olin has called for an urgent meeting due to the dwindling air reserves, leaving them with less than 5 months' worth. Silas suggests a return to Rexor to procure hydrogen. However, Vera and Silas find themselves at odds over the ethics of extracting hydrogen from planet Rexor. Vera suggests that they should gather resources from a planet devoid of inhabitants, highlighting the ethical concerns of exploiting Rexor's resources and anticipating the inhabitants' defense of their home. However, Silas dismisses her concerns, portraying the Rexorians as heartless beings devoid of morality and emotions. Vera argues that the Rexorians are intelligent beings deserving of respect, and their actions could provoke a conflict leading to war. Silas remains resolute, expressing his willingness to sacrifice himself for the mission's completion. With a heavy heart, Vera watches as Silas departs. During the meeting, General Olin announces an accelerated timeline for the invasion and resource harvesting. Vera once more advocates for negotiation and sharing resources, but Silas vehemently opposes, asserting the necessity of the element for their survival and advocating for swift action before the Rexorians can react. General Olin concurs with Silas's assessment, emphasizing the need for urgency and covert operations to prevent the Rexorians from mobilizing. He authorizes only a single craft, piloted by Silas Herrick, for the covert mission to secure the essential resource. Later, Vera is in her office when Yarrow approaches her. Vera asks Yarrow to bring her some food, and Yarrow wonders why Vera isn't having dinner with her husband. Vera confides in Yarrow about her troubled relationship with Silas, explaining that things couldn't get any worse, and he constantly undermines her. When Vera gets home, she tries to talk to Silas, but he's too busy to listen, so she goes back to her room. There, she looks at a beautiful black dress in her wardrobe. Determined to escape her troubles, Vera puts on the dress and a breathing mask, then walks through a dangerous underground area called the Maze. Eventually, she arrives at a fancy brothel, where she takes off her hoodie to reveal the dress. She's led to an area where people are enjoying themselves boldly. Vera enters a transparent glass room and sees a man and a woman being intimate. She joins them. The next morning, Vera is jogging in her augmented reality room on a treadmill, with a screen displaying a lush jungle scene. Silas enters and informs her that he's leaving to begin the mission. After Silas departs, Vera closes the door and continues her exercise. Later, we see Vera overseeing the launch. Before entering the room, she records a message for Silas, letting him know that she'll be supervising the launch and advises him to be cautious. Silas and his team start boarding the ship as he receives the message, but he only hears part of it before closing it. From a window, Vera watches the ship as it departs. Later at her home, Vera enters a glass room filled with plants in small glass bowls, basking in the sunlight. During her exercise routine, she's called into a control center where they're monitoring a battle Silas and his team are engaged in. Silas and his team find themselves surrounded, but they've successfully filled the ship with hydrogen to its full capacity. They plan to use a warhead, and Vera asks if the ship will survive. Yarrow explains that they can engage the autopilot and launch before detonation, but the crew won't survive. Despite the risk, Olin insists on securing the hydrogen and activates the warhead. The crew attempts to board the ship but fails, and the warhead detonates, eliminating the natives but ensuring the safe return of the ship, now loaded with hydrogen. Unfortunately, all the Terrans on the mission, including Silas, appear to have perished. Vera is at home wearing a breathing mask and not feeling well. She feels lost without Silas, like her life has no direction. The next day when she goes to work, her colleague Yarrow approaches her and comments that they didn't expect her to come in. Vera explains that she feels untethered and guilty because her life used to revolve around Silas. Yarrow reassures Vera that it's not her fault and reminds her that she was against the mission from the start. Yarrow encourages Vera to stay strong and tells her that Terra needs her. They need an aggressive plan, and Vera is the one who has to create it. Yarrow believes that's what Silas would have wanted too. Upon returning home, Vera finds solace in reminiscing as she gazes at a picture of her and Silas. As she tends to her plants, lost in her thoughts, she receives a call from Yarrow. Yarrow informs her that the ship, now on autopilot and filled with hydrogen, has been detected re-entering Terran orbit. Vera is puzzled, wondering how the ship could be unmanned if they've detected two life forms on board, one of which is identified as Silas. Determined to see him, Vera rushes to meet Silas, but she encounters Olin on the way. Olin praises Silas's bravery and reveals that he's in the hospital, relatively uninjured but wanting to come home. When Vera finally sees Silas in the hospital room, she's shocked to find him shivering and in a weakened state. Concerned, she reaches for the doctor, but Silas refuses and instead grasps her hand tightly. Vera sits beside Silas, offering him reassurance that everything will be all right. Later, Olin and other officials arrive to question Silas about his ordeal. Olin inquires if any Rexorians attempted to board the ship, to which Silas responds that they tried, but the ship remained secure. They press for more details, and Silas recalls pulling one of his men, Private Matthews, onto the ship. When asked about his journey home, Silas admits to blacking out during the fight and not remembering much. Vera intervenes, declaring that Silas has endured enough questioning and requests they allow him to rest. Olin asks if the combat occurred entirely outside the craft, and Silas confirms. With that, Olin bids him well and departs. Later, Silas tells Vera that she looks beautiful, even in such difficult times. In the days that follow, Silas continues to show Vera love and respect, a marked change from his previous demeanor. However, recovered footage from the battle raises doubts about Silas's account. It suggests that two Rexorians did indeed board the ship. When Vera questions Silas about what happened on Rexor, he becomes evasive and doesn't provide a clear answer. Despite this, Silas prepares breakfast for Vera, and she suggests he talk to a psychologist, to which he agrees. As Vera tries to leave, Silas insists she have a bite of breakfast, symbolizing his significant change since their last interaction. Yarrow warns Vera about the danger posed by Rexorians and suggests she be cautious if there's any chance they infected Silas. Back home, Silas appears upset that Vera missed dinner, and they end up sleeping together after he follows her into the bedroom. The story continues with a dramatic twist as the authorities storm the couple's bedroom and detain Silas. It emerges that Matthews, under questioning, has exposed his true identity as a Rexorian shapeshifter. Silas, also under interrogation, vehemently denies being a shapeshifter and insists that his memories are authentic and unique to him. A tense trial unfolds, with Vera standing as a witness in defense of Silas, asserting her belief in his true identity. However, Yarrow's damning testimony accuses Vera of knowingly sheltering the Rexorian imposter, an act deemed treasonous and punishable by death. Despite her recent doubts about Silas's behavior, Vera steadfastly maintains her faith in his true identity. Silas, determined to clear his name, takes the stand and pleads his case. He acknowledges that he has undergone changes, but firmly asserts that he remains the same Silas they know. In a surprising twist, Silas changes his mind and confesses to being a Rexorian, but only if Vera is promised protection from any punishment. The court agrees to this deal. Just before the final decision is made, Vera speaks to the judge and explains that Silas couldn't be a Rexorian because he was willing to sacrifice himself to save someone else. Rexorians are not known to do that. The court agrees with Vera and lets Silas go free. This shows that Silas has a human heart and is capable of love and sacrifice. After Silas is set free, he and Vera look deeply into each other's eyes. Vera asks Silas to tell her his real name, but he says she wouldn't be able to pronounce it, admitting that he is indeed a Rexorian. Thanks for watching, guys. If you like the explanation, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. See you next time.